Well, everything's getting better, right? The bars are open. I was able to go on tour, Um, in terms of the working drummers out there, just keep going. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't wait for somebody to call you post COVID because you got to go get it because there aren't as most things are open now, but everything isn't back to normal. And if there are only so many gigs, the only people that are going to get them are the people that go get them, right? Don't sit in your basement waiting for somebody to call you because it's not going to happen. So, a little bit of self-motivation, get into it. The gigs are there. You just got to go get it. And, I don't know if that was positive, but, just keep at it. Don't quit. And always remember, this is the main thing Bernard Purdy taught me. Always remember why you started playing drums, and that's to have fun. Nothing else. Not to get famous on YouTube, not to be a rock star. The first time you hit a drum was because you thought it would be fun, right? So stay with that, because that will get you somewhere.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the All Music Matters on That podcast. I'm your host, Brian. Joining me today, it's John Hoff. How you doing, brother?
What's up, dude? Thanks for having me.
No worries. And you and Matt, a.k.a. Drumman 190, you guys were good friends, and you guys did that 5 Strokes at 5 podcast.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I guess what happened, actually? You guys kind of drifted away a little bit?
So I've known Matthew for a long time. I was his teacher at the School of Rock. And then he left the school at some point, and then we just connected just through YouTube and stuff, and we hang out. He's been in the studio. We're friends. You're wondering what happened to the podcast?
Well, it just seems like it's just him, like Ryan Soul. The episodes I saw, it was mostly like YouTube, taking turns asking questions with some of these famous, like Thomas Lang, for instance. I think I saw you guys do that one.
Yeah, for sure. That was awesome. But what really happened is I'm busy. I'm in my 30s and he's lower 20s. It was the type of deal where like I could only do like 2 nights a week or something. And I don't think he was on board with that. And then, also, to be honest, I do believe it was time for him to go on his own. I feel like I was doing most of the talking and holding him back a little. So like I was actually pretty excited to see him on his own doing it and going out there and like the Stanton Moore one, right? Is that the right last name? Yeah.
Stanton Moore, yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome. He's doing great. But yeah, there's no bad blood or anything. It's not like that. It was just kind of, we did it for 1 year and then we just kind of stopped.
No, I see. No, I didn't think it was anything with bad blood or anything like that. I just didn't know.
Yeah, no. He's a good kid. And I hope he keeps doing it. I haven't seen too many episodes of it lately, but hopefully he can keep going with it.
I think I checked out his channel today, and it looks like he's been doing a lot of drum covers recently. So,
oh, cool. Yeah, that's his favorite thing. When I was teaching him actually at the School of Rock, he was he was young, right? He was still in school. His channel was in Drum Magazine as like a new up and coming, like I forget what they called it, like new blood. Like I had it on the wall in our lesson room. Yeah, I was proud of him. He's cool. He's doing really well on YouTube.
That's for sure. Yeah, actually, I had the privilege of having him on.
I watched it. Yeah, I've been watching the whole last week. I've been watching your channel. I like it. Doing good, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I normally like to release these like once a week, and it's always on Mondays. So I figured start the week off right.
Yeah.
Get something. Something with like a little comedy sketch, kind of like how Gaz Graham, like how his was with the Scottish accent and everything too, and body mouth.
Yeah. So what led you to doing a drum podcast?
You know what? Ironically, it was you and Drumman 190. So
Oh, nice, dude. Nice. That's
well,
awesome. That's really exciting to hear, actually.
I think it was because I always liked how podcasts were, but I never was able to like kick it off until like
Yeah.
I think it was 2020. I'm trying to make sure I get the years right too. I want to make sure I don't get my timeline all mixed up and everything too. But I know I only started it recently, and then it really helped my channel grow a little bit. I'm only at 200 subscribers right now, so I'm hoping we can break that 1,000 subscriber mark for 2023. So here's open.
Yeah, dude. The first 100's tough, and then it'll grow.
Glad to see, yeah. But yeah, yours, I think I was looking up like a music podcast and stuff like that. I think I just stumbled upon yours. And unfortunately, I was going to do kind of similar thing that you guys were doing, just try to get these big shots on here and talk to them, which eventually it would be nice too. But unfortunately, I was just copycatting, and that was something my mom had told me too. So try.
Yeah. Oh, we were copying other people. It's not like, we didn't invent a podcast,
Well, in terms of how the format was, and I think I think the problem was the questions were kind of similar to yours, but I realized I had to like modify it a little bit too, because
that was one thing I think we were kind of running into. I was, we would meet maybe 20 minutes before each one, prepared with some questions, and we'd talk about our questions and put them in order that goes right out the window as soon as you start talking. But like take turns with questions and stuff. I think what it really came down to is just being able to talk to people. Like there's like questions, but you could talk about, I ask you this podcast question. We could talk an hour about just that, as long as it just flows nicely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely too. And then it probably would segue into like other questions here, but we do have a good bit right here. So the way it works is we just like to get to know people's stories, both as the individual and as a musician too. But I'm assuming you're mostly a drummer. I don't know if you do any other instruments, but you can tell us in just a moment here. So let's jump into the first question here. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the first one is, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into drumming?
25 years ago. I'm 35. I started at 10 in school band. But what it really was a friend of mine had a guitar and he learned how to play Smells Like Teen Spirit, some drums. So I joined the band in school. Just kind of went from there. I did everything, school drums, like drumline, jazz band, concert band, symphonic band, orchestra, all the musicals, choir, everything, literally everything I could do music-wise. It was and is my life. I'm a professional drummer. It's all I do. That's why we had to start so late tonight. Teaching up until about 30 minutes ago. But yeah, man, for me, it just kind of came, from my best friend. And then I just fell in love with, the first album I ever bought was an Aerosmith record. And they've been my favorite band since. And just listening to those drums as a young guy, I was like, just blown away. And, moving forward, the story with Aerosmith, I haven't met them or anything, but I had tickets to see them September 12th, like 2001. So like the day after September 11th, and it obviously got postponed a couple days, and it was this big emotional thing. And I'm in like, I think maybe 9th grade at the time. We go see them, and I'm in the audience watching that show. And I just knew right there, I'm going to play on that stage. This is what I'm going to do with my life. And I eventually got to play that stage, maybe 5 years ago. So it took me a long time to get there, but I got there. And that was a really cool moment. That was 2017 when I got to play, 30,000 seat venue, special moment for me, for sure. I haven't played a venue that big since, those gigs are few and far in between, but,
highlight of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really where it all started. It just kept going, just never stopped. Well, I was in the Air Force for 6 years. So I was all over the world, been in like 40 countries, but I did spend a lot of time in the Middle East. So like there were a couple of years where I just couldn't play, I had a drum pad in Afghanistan, but that was about it.
Oh God, what years were you in Afghanistan? Let's see, man.
Oh yeah, I did.
It's got down to shitter after the last couple of years too. So I mean, obviously you must have did it when it was pretty chill and everything.
No. I was, I was there for war. During the war,
the Afghanistan war. Yeah.
Yeah, 2005 to 2011. Iraq, Afghanistan. I mean, I've been to almost every country in the Middle East. Obviously not Iran. I've never been to Pakistan, but pretty much all the others. I might be off by one or two, but I think I've been to all the other ones.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
It's not the best part of the world.
Do tell. But actually, thank you for your service first off. I actually had no idea too. So
yeah, thanks. Yeah, man, it was cool. A lot of cool stories. Jordan was nice, I was watching your episode with, I forget the guy's name, forgive me, but Germany. He was in Germany.
It was actually, I think I did a 3 or 4 out of Germany, I guess. So was it
German guys, right? Yeah, it was the most recent one of a German guy.
Actually, the most recent one would actually be a girl, and it was a Vanessa.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
That's my most recent one, and then
the most recent guy in Germany.
Most recent guy, okay.
I watched like a bunch of your. I started with your newest, and I started working down, and I ended up before I knew it. I listened to the whole hour of you and this German guy. But that's great. That's great on you, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've actually get back to my German roots and everything too.
Yeah, I've been to Germany a bunch. Did you live in Germany or?
I never lived in Germany, but I've been to Germany. In fact, I've been to Munich twice. Cool. I would like to go to Berlin. That would be nice. And I was trying to remember. Passau, yeah. Passau, I was there. No, Georgestein's in Austria. I was trying to make sure I missed all the cities off because it's along the Danube River. It was a river cruise we did. I think it was 2015 or 2016. And it was with my parents. And we traveled up the Danube River. Actually went to Vienna. Vienna is a real beautiful city.
Yeah, nice. Very cool. Yeah.
But those are the two that come to mind. I think we were just briefly in Regensburg, but that took us to Munich. We didn't really explore Regensburg too much, so
it's tough in a different country. You don't really know where you are, and it's tough. Do you speak German?
I was going to say, speaks du Deutsch?
Yeah, not me.
My Deutsch is nicht so good. So.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Where are you? I mean, do you mind sharing where you live now?
I'm pretty much born and raised in around Pittsburgh, PA.
Oh, dude, we're close. Yeah, I'm like 10 minutes outside Philly.
Oh, are you? Yeah.
Are you Eagles or Steelers? I'm assuming Steelers.
I would say hats off to the Steelers, even though I'll give you guys credit, but you guys kind of slipped up near the end there a little bit, but you at least pulled it out. So. Yeah,
I'm a die-hard football. Like season tickets with the Eagles. I go to every game. It's my thing.
Actually, I had Gardner Minshew as my fantasy for the last 2 weeks.
Sorry. It didn't work out so well.
Well, I think it was the Saints game. Yeah, that one kind of blew. So
yeah, I was there. That sucked.
Tragic, yes, I know. Yeah. But actually, I had Miles Sanders too, and he
had a decent year. Yeah,
he did, but those fumbles killed him. Actually,
yeah, they always do.
Although I think one really killed him too because it didn't get him past like 2 points because it must have been like a screenplay or something because he fumbled and lost like 13 yards, so that was pretty bad. Yeah, just in terms of fantasy points, but
yeah, my fantasy team was trash this year. I had like Aaron Rodgers that didn't work. just everybody got hurt, and
Actually, they needed Aaron Rodgers later in the year to come through. That's when he started turning it on.
He started getting good when I dropped him.
Yeah, I know. I hate that too, especially if you trade him. Right. And it's like, oh, now you decide to play well? That sort of thing. Actually, I got ripped off with Alvin Kamara, which was a pretty bad move on my part. But he was before Joe Mixon. They projected him before Joe Mixon during the draft. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people got killed with Jonathan Taylor as like the number 1 overall pick,
That's true, yeah. I wouldn't say it was really his fault. I thought they still had that offensive line to really help him out, but that...
Right, yeah.
Nope, that didn't really work, so...
Yeah.
All right.
So, anyway, back to drumming.
Yes. Let's segue back into drumming.
But I keep asking you questions, man. You do your thing.
No, you're good. In fact, this is good talking here.
Yeah, heck yeah.
That's some good TV right there. So. All right. So let's talk about your drum sets right there. Is that the main one back there that you play with? And I guess it's a practice session there.
Here's my new Ludwig Classic Maple. It's amazing. I've only gotten to play it a handful of times, but 24-inch kick, 13, 16-inch toms. Right there I have the Black Beauty snare. It's like $1,000 snare drum. Super nice. And then against the wall back there, I don't know if you can see, there's like 2 drum sets stacked up. One's in cases. That's my Pearl Masters. I love that kit. And then that one there is a Sonar that I bought at a shop like on a whim, and I've never even played it. And then I got an old MIJ kit over there. And well, actually, I have 2 of them over there that I use for like, they're cheap kits, like for cover band gigs if when they pop up. I have another kit at one of my band rehearsal spots too. I have a whole
bunch of kits.
I got a whole snare rack over here. But it's my job, right? So
you gotta spend money to make money too. So
yeah, and it's not even that. It's just when it's your job, you have to have the right gear for what artist, whoever you're playing for, what they want. You know what I mean? It's not what I want. It's what the artist, the person that wrote those songs, if I get hired as like a gun for hire,
Or a cell drum, we could say, kind of play off Selftaught, for instance. I'm a cell drummer, right? I sell my drums. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. And,
little Game of Thrones action right there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them just record better. Some of them are better live. So, like I had this 1970s, I just went on tour in the Midwest, and I wasn't happy with any. I didn't want to bring any of my like $800 and up snares on the road in the winter. So I went and bought this like 70s Ludwig Coliseum, and it is just a gem. Like, like I was watching a video recently somebody sent me from one of our Chicago show, and that snare, man, it was sounding amazing. I was very excited to hear that. So now I think I'm going to throw it over there, maybe for the next couple videos. It's really cool.
You're a drum, go boom.
Yeah, boom. And you're an E-drummer, right?
Yeah, I've actually been rolling with the electric kits for a good while because my parents were not going to do acoustic sets. I told the story a good bit of times, but obviously, I don't know how much you know about the story, but it started off with Rock Band, and then that's when I got into like
video game.
It was, yes. That's a funny thing.
Yeah. Very cool.
See, video games were good for something.
Yeah,
we weren't just going around shooting up zombies or killing Russians, for instance, or anything like that.
You taught yourself how to play drums.
I did, yeah, and that actually, also when you hear the audience like clapping and stuff, that's kind of giving you like the cadence. That's actually how it taught me music theory too. So.
Oh, geez, that's awesome, dude.
But it's a different story when you try to get syncopated and all that stuff too, especially when playing in heavy metal. And
yeah, I was watching your what was that band you just covered with the double bass?
Well, I actually did a couple, but
the most recent one, like a couple days ago, I think it was.
Well, the one I was going to say that the one that closed out the year, that was from Nile. Excuse me. And then the most recent one was Incantation. And,
that's the one, Incantation. Yeah.
That was one of the. I think it was more New Jersey, but they were not too far from where New York City was. So they were probably with a Newark bands or something like that.
Yeah.
Then for some reason, I ended up in Johnstown, of all places. And that's.
Oh, cool.
I guess that's where they chose. I don't know what they're doing now, but that's the last I heard. That's where they were.
So you're a big metalhead?
I do. And sometimes I like to play rock, some of the classic rocks, or get into some of the thrash. I did a couple with Anthrax recently. I would like to do some Slayer. And then I'm hoping I don't get the same kind of copyright ban with Metallica or anything like that. So
I haven't been hit with any on Metallica. They seem to be okay with it. It's the record labels, right? That's how it works. So you got to figure out which record labels allow it and which not. Except for certain things like you could never do an Eagles song. Zeppelin, I have seen some, but I don't understand how some get taken down and some don't. Like I did it. One of the best covers I ever did was Fool in the Rain. And I even brought in timbales, and I did that whole whistles thing in the bridge, like crazy Zeppelin stuff, and got taken down. I was like, I put it up and it was immediately taken down. But I spent, weeks on that, making sure it was perfect.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but that's how it was with the recent cover I did. It did say like the whole song. It said you could not play it. It was blocked entirely.
Right.
This one, it said like you couldn't do it from the beginning of the song, that's 0, to like 3 minutes and 20 seconds into the song. And then after that, it was good. So that's why it says shortened version. So, I don't know. I mean, it just worked. And after that, it was just a simple copy right afterwards. It was like, it's allowed to play on YouTube, but it's a copyright, but it's allowed to be on YouTube. And
I don't understand why bands wouldn't want you to cover their, any money you make on it's going to them anyway. Well, the label, That's
what you would think, and even the whole song in general too. That's what is so baffling too. So I don't know.
Especially a band like that, it's not like they're that famous. You know what I mean? It's not like they're playing arenas.
It's the underworld, where the underworld zombies and that sort of thing. Apocalyptic mayhem and all sorts of things. So
yeah, I used to be a huge metalhead. In high school, we used to all. Do you know Philly at all?
Philly?
Yeah. Have you been to Philly? And
I always drove past Philly because we always go to like Cape Bay, but we passed through there a little bit.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I live in the burbs, like just 10 minutes north, right? And me and my friends would get on the subway, go down to Chinatown, and go to the Troc. It's like a smaller venue, but that's where all the metal bands played. So like, get tickets on a Friday, not even knowing who's playing, just go, and see who's there. And I saw, do you know In Flames?
I do know In Flames. Yeah, the Swedish band. Yeah.
First time I ever heard In Flames was them opening for Iced Earth. And I was like, I'd never heard that kind of screaming, And it just like from then on, I was a huge In Flames fan. It's very cool.
I have to say, I'm amazed he even still has a voice, considering what he's done throughout the years.
Yeah.
It still sounds the same, too. I listened to that song, State of Slow Decay. That's a killer song from them.
Yeah. I saw them on, like, at their most popular during the Clayman tour. That's when I saw them.
I was going to say the Jester Race or Colony. I thought those were...
Colony was, like, I think right before Clayman, right? I could be wrong. I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Those are my two favorite albums, though, by them. But yeah, man, I like everything. Even I've been mostly my drumming lately. I've been practicing jazz because I suck at it and I just want to be better at it. I don't listen to jazz. I actually really dislike listening to most jazz, but it does make you a better drummer. I mean,
I think it's because the drummer. I was gonna say I think the drummer doesn't really do a whole lot when it's just like the album version. They do a lot more when it's live. I think it's the same thing with blues too. So
yeah. I think with jazz, that's kind of the whole thing, right? Being able to improvise and things like that. And the live versions, people are off the leash, just go off. Listen to some of those Buddy Rich records that are live, killer. It's not really jazz though, because he's just going crazy on the drums over like an orchestra. But
yeah,
really neat.
Actually, I was thinking of that's how Kiss was too. Going into some of the classic rock ones. The album, it's at least real simple and that sort of thing. But then you listen to it live, it's a whole lot different. And that's when Peter Criss.
They're a live band. You see it, the spectacle, and it's special. And that's what makes them unique, not what's on the album, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Same with like Ghost, right? I was just teaching a Ghost song today. I mean, I'm listening to Square Hammer. You know that one? It's their big one, I think.
That's Cerise, yeah.
Yeah, and I like it. It's awesome, but it's not, in 50 years, no one's going to know it. It's not like Sweet Child of Mine or something that will live forever, but their live show is something you will never forget. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, I guess this leads to the next question here, because how many bands are you in right now? And I guess if you want to share your experiences on them, I guess go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I'm playing with a lot of bands right now.
Too many to count.
No, it's just they go through like these lulls. Like one band's doing a lot, and this band's taking a break, and then it slowly switches. And I've been lucky that way. But so most recently, that tour I was just talking about, I went out with The Color Fred. that was really cool. Monster musicians, and Fred of The Color Fred, the singer, it's his solo band. He was in Taking Back Sunday. Do you know them from like the?
I do know, yeah, but
yeah.
the only song was trying Liar and Make Damn Sure. Yeah, those are the two I know.
He wrote Make Damn Sure. Fred wrote Make Damn Sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's on that album, and he's on I think a couple of them. But he's just the nicest dude, man, and that whole experience was nuts, playing with somebody that's somewhat famous. You know, like the first show I played with them was playing with Saves the Day. Do you remember them?
You say Haste the Day or Saves the Day?
Saves the Day.
Saves the Day. Okay, no.
Yeah. You might recognize it's like early 2000s to mid 2000s emo, like emo rock, you know. Same as
like Chemical Romance, that sort of
yeah, Taking Back Sunday, all that stuff. I mean, it's emo.
Well, which one was Fred in Taking Back Sunday?
It was the Fred one. Lead guitar.
Lead guitar, okay.
Yeah.
I'll be out here, man. I have not listened to him in a good while.
Oh, no, I know, yeah. I mean, I went to that audition not knowing a single Taking Back Sunday song, you know. He called me. I said, yeah, I'll do it, before I even heard the songs. And I have 4 days to get ready for an audition. Then I listened to the songs, and I was like, oh, crap, they're not easy. So we can talk about that if you'd like, getting ready for something like that. But, yeah, it was really – everything worked out. I went on tour because their drummer had a baby and just couldn't leave work and the baby. And then I had a baby. I went on tour. My daughter was, I think, 5 weeks old. And I left, which I felt really bad about. But it wasn't too long. But that band, Color Fred, I've been working with them quite a bit. My band, where like I'm equal member and writer and everything, is called The Great Enough. You know, we were fairly successful in like 2019-ish. We had one song with like 1 million streams on Spotify. That's the band I got to play with Imagine Dragons. We got to open for like, I mean, I played some crazy big shows. Like even like the Wallflowers, you remember them? Bob Dylan's son is the singer. We did like, I mean, so many 90s bands like Fuel like 5 times, and Sister Hazel and Lit and Eve 6. And we were just like, we ended up becoming the band that everyone was calling to open, but only in Philly. We're like, take us out on the road, you know?
You were the Ted Nugent of the openers in Philly.
Right. Yeah, right. But that, I mean, obviously that Imagine Dragons show, 30,000 people, that super memorable. And that was, Mike Shinoda was playing that one too.
Oh, God.
And it was it was right after Chester died. It was intense, man.
Oh.
He was doing Linkin Park songs and having the crowd sing Chester's parts. He was crying. The crowd was crying. I'm standing on the side of the stage watching like, this is a moment, you know? So he was cool. You know, we just a lot. It's hard to even remember, but just a ton of it. We got to open for so many awesome Mr. Wives. They're like a modern band. And I was not a fan. We saw them, and they're like a modern pop rock, you know? And they blew my face off. Like, I cannot underestimate how good they were. This singer, she was sick, and this is right before COVID hit, right? She was sick, feeling terrible, and when she hit that stage, it was like nothing was wrong. Like backstage, we were like, oh no, this is going to be terrible for them, you know? But I watched that show, and like it affected me. It was that good, you know? Pretty cool. Other bands, you know, I did a cover band where I was playing between 250 shows a year. Weddings. You'd go to the Jersey Shore. We would do Sea Isle every Wednesday, every summer for years. And it's like every Thursday I'm in the burbs of Philly. Every Friday I'm in Philly. Every Saturday I'm in wherever, you know. But I was playing a gig every night. And I decided to leave that just as COVID hit. Because I was making really good money. But I don't know.
You just needed a break after that, yeah.
I just wanted to play some original music, for like no money.
Well, it's funny when I mentioned the Jersey Shore. I think, did you see Snooki and all those guys, or was that well after that show had aired?
Yeah, oh yeah. I was in the military during that, and I actually ran into them while they were filming. And is it Cape May? No, it's Seaside, right? They did Seaside, the Jersey Shore show.
I think so, yeah, because I don't think I remember them doing anything in Cape May, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing that. I went into a bar, and it's all fake. Like the cast, like those Jersey guys, were in the corner of a bar, and there was like a line of girls waiting to get on the screen. And it was like they would have two girls walk over, stand with them with drinks, act like they're dancing for like a minute. They leave. Then two different girls come up, so it looks like it's a different time, And then they just go to a different corner of the bar and film all that again, so it looks different. And the bar was like empty, but on the show it looked like it was a packed club, That was disappointing.
I would say, yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I keep getting away from drumming.
No, you're good though. But
bands, dude. I mean, anyone listen that's trying to do. I feel like I'm sounding ungrateful. Like, why would you leave a 200 gig a year cover band where you're making money or things like that? Get on stage, all of you, any way you can. I just got into an area where I got to a point where I could choose. Do I want to do the covers or the original and still have a ton of gigs? And I'll tell you, like, especially with this last tour, getting in a van with your three buddies and, doing the shows and playing like big rooms, it's just so much cooler than, playing from 8 to 2 or 10 to 2 every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, playing Wagon Wheel 100,000 times a year, playing like Chicken Fried or whatever, just the worst songs or songs that I used to like that I hate now because I had to play them so much as a cover band. But a lot of you, if you could get a cover band gig, I would definitely do it because, you're going to get to play a lot. You're going to learn a ton. With that many gigs, you get better on stage. Your presence, your nerves start going away after you play 200 shows in a year. There's so many benefits, you know what I mean? I just had to walk away at that point, just for my own, sanity.
I was going to say, yeah, I think you need a break after doing all that, too.
Yeah, well, I did that for years, like at least 6 years. Maybe, I mean, I don't even know. But it really, I realized I made the right decision once I started playing with people with a little more clout behind their name, or getting brought into certain studios and playing just like, I'll give you $500, come play a couple songs for me in the studio, just spend 8 hours here, I'm done, as easy, I'm getting to a point now, I just got some new mics. Well, now I'm at the level where I don't even need to go anywhere, I'm working with 16 channels, 16 preamps. Right now I'm only using 12, so I need some more mics, but all my covers coming up, it'll be 12 mics. My overheads, I just spent like $3,000 on them or something like that. They're pretty good. I'm excited. Yeah, I can't wait with the new drums. And,
it's gonna be killer, man.
It's gonna be killer.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But I guess let's jump into that School of Rock. I guess when'd you join it, and then when'd you meet Matt, and then I guess how did your whole relationship build off that?
Yeah. That's gonna be tough. I was at School of Rock for 7 years. And it's a really good place for people to get started teaching, if any of you are interested in teaching, because they're going to get you students, They are known for not paying very well, and they're also known for charging the customers a ton. They're the most expensive school and the lowest paying school to teachers in at least my area. But once I was there, before that I was teaching at a high school marching band. Right after I got out of the military in like June, and I was teaching in July, band camp or whatever. And, that doesn't really pay. I mean, it pays, but it's garbage. So I was like, I think I'm going to keep teaching. So I got that job, and at that point I was playing with a band that was signing a record deal with Universal, and the singer fired the band 4 days before signing the deal, and he went and did it by himself and stuff.
Oh God.
I was like, no, dude, that crushed me. And it was somebody I went to high school with and stuff. We've made up and everything. It was ugly. It came down to money, and I think it came down to money, and decisions were made. Yeah. So after that, I was crushed. I really was. And I was having a hard time getting motivated to just practice. So I was like, I'm going to go teach, which was the best thing I could have done, because while you're teaching in a school, it's nonstop. You do not have breaks, and it's 6-7 hours straight. You're drumming. So, and then you show up early to practice yourself. You're playing drums 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. You're going to get good. You know what I mean? And obviously I was at a certain point to where I could teach. The first song I had to teach there was Hot for Teacher. So it's not like, if you want to teach, make sure you can play, first, and understand everything. But
you and Mike Conway would get along pretty well with that one.
What's that?
Do you know a drummer, Mike Conway?
Oh yeah. I love his channel.
Well, yeah, he also did Hot for Teacher as the intro too.
Oh, cool.
But go ahead.
Well, I walked into the School of Rock, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is your first student." I was like, "Oh man, what are you working on?" He's like, "Hot for Teacher." I was like, "Ah, crap! Like, what did I just get myself into?" But it's mostly kids that are way less experienced than that.
Yeah.
So I was there for a long time. I became like the head of the drum section, and I don't know when Matthew came in, like somewhere in the middle of that 7 years. And I don't even remember how long it was. Maybe a year of lessons with him, like once a week, maybe a little longer. I can't really remember. And we just hit it off. I knew he was good. I'll tell you one thing about Matthew, Drumman 190. He's way better than any of you know. One of the things I'd get on him about is like, show everybody, play something harder, or like do something crazy, because he just doesn't do it, which is cool. Everyone expresses their art in a certain way, but you should all know he's a lot better than you guys know.
Well, I had to say, he dressed up in that rabbit outfit. I think it was a Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, totally. I would love to get a couple of you guys all together on a video doing solos, no music. You get 4 bars, you get 4 bars, you get 4 bars. Everyone do it at 110, and we'll just mush it together. Just like something where you can actually. My one problem with this YouTube cover community, I love it. Obviously, I'm part of it. I've been doing it for a long time. But a lot of times I don't get to see who you guys really are. I get to see you pretending to be other people, playing other people's parts. So like, don't be afraid to throw solos out there or something, a lesson. I don't know. Could be something simple, but I do know I'm in the minority thinking that way. Covers are awesome, but don't forget to be yourself. Not you, just everybody, whoever's watching this, because that's what it's really all about.
The thing is, like, a lot of us too are those middle class people who also have another job that they're working.
Oh yeah.
I don't. For me, it's 2 jobs, so it's tough trying to do everything with YouTube as well.
Oh, dude, I mean, look at my channel. It's been suffering since I had the kid, and it's been rough. So because I don't have any kid. This is loud as heck, and the baby's right up there. So it's really tough. Like I've only been able to get like 1 or 2 a month, but January I'm trying to get back to 1 a week. I have some really cool stuff in the works. But yeah, School of Rock, man. Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it's a cool program. It gets the kids on stage. I've met a lot of really, really awesome people. I got to teach John Bonham's daughter because I was there. I got to teach so many famous people's kids, like actors and everything, because I taught in Doylestown, which is like upper class I don't live there, but that's why I live closer to the city. But it's like probably about an hour north of Philly. But like there's a ton of like Pink, the singer, she grew up there. Like there's just a ton of like Oscar-winning directors and actors and just everything there. You know what I mean?
A lot of big wigs come out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So their kids go to the school, and I got to, some of them are pretty awesome. Some of them are spoiled little famous kids.
Of course, what you expect.
Yeah, but once the drumstick's in your hand, man, nothing can hide your inefficiencies. You know what I mean? Like money can't get you good at the drums.
They'll get you the lessons, but you gotta do everything else on your own.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, dude, kids come up today. Somebody was like, "Oh, thank you so much for my lessons," that type of thing, and I'm like, "I'm just telling you stuff. You're doing all the work, man. Like, I'm telling you what to do, but you're the one doing it at home every day. And then you come back, then I tell you what to do again. It's not the teacher. I've taught plenty of kids that, get better real slow because they don't practice. If that same kid just practiced, they'd be, So, being able to afford the teacher that's huge. Yeah, there's no lying. But today we have YouTube, ton of lessons. Like back when we were young, how old are you?
I'm in my 30s, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple years younger than you, though.
Yeah. When we were young, there's no YouTube. There's no... I mean, we didn't even have DVDs until, like, the late 90s. You know what I mean? And
that comes later.
It was... Right. So, like I did not grow up in any type of family that had money. So, like, my parents were able to pay a teacher to teach me how to read music, and then I had to stop the lessons. And then at that point, it's like, okay, go buy the $10 book and learn out of the book, teach yourself. So that's kind of what I did. And then, in my 20s, I took that really far. And in my 20s, I started studying with Bernard Purdy. And that changed everything for sure. He's like legend. I'm actually doing a drum clinic with him in a couple weeks, where he's headlining. I'm playing right before him, and that'll be pretty crazy. He's my old teacher, so I'll be nervous playing in front of him. But yeah, man, Bernard. And then after that, I haven't had a teacher. I should get a teacher soon now that I think about it. I haven't had lessons in probably 10 years, maybe a little less. What about you? Do you take lessons?
I actually never took any lessons. I'm completely self-taught.
Yeah, get some lessons, man. Change it up,
I'm just really busy. That's the thing. And
oh, yeah.
Definitely doing the 2 jobs, like 4 days out of the week.
Yeah.
Every now and again, you just need to like chill and just like also make sure you find practice time to actually get on the drums. So
yeah. It's the older we get, the harder it gets. You know what I mean?
Well, if you have too many passions all at once, it's conflicting too. So
right, yeah. Even like you doing a drum cover, I mean, this is where I get a little jealous of the electric setups. You don't really have to edit much audio, This it's like a couple hours just editing Pro Tools, and mixing, and then it's a couple hours doing the video. It gets to the point where it's 6 to 10 hours each video. And it's like, if I spent that 6 to 10 hours drumming, I'd be getting better, But, we do it because we love it. It's fun.
Actually, speaking of which, I guess, what do you love most about drumming?
It's fun.
The short answer.
Because there's nothing, when I'm drumming, there's nothing else. You know what I mean?
Actually, I thought you were going to go into a long answer there, too. So.
What's that?
Actually, I thought you were going to go into a long answer there, too. I was waiting for you to kind of explain it. But no.
I believe drumming, especially when you're in the practice room, becomes meditative. And when you get into that zone where you're just like super focused and you're working on something that you suck at and it finally gets there, it's just like there's no feeling quite like that, And then getting on stage with a couple brothers. You know, it's like 4 dudes standing in front of 2,000 people trying to play something well. You know, it's just like crazy to think about doing that. You know, so I mean, what's not to love about it, right?
I would say more therapeutic, but I like meditate better. It does sound a little bit better.
Same thing. I mean, meditation is therapy. You know, it's the same thing for sure.
Absolutely.
What do you love about drumming?
For one, it's a nice workout too, because
it is a workout. Yeah.
Because I would say actually I'm in the gym because I've been sick for a good while. I know you kind of your little stint with COVID too. And I guess
I had COVID over the holiday. Yeah. Me and my 3-month-old daughter, we both got it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I was worried about her. She's fine.
Yeah, I was just was really playing it safe, but I had to get back in the gym, and recently just tried doing push-ups too, and I'm all sore here in the shoulders. So now it's so now it feels a little hard, like trying to raise it up. If you want to try to go completely crazy on the cymbals, for instance, and stuff like that.
Right. Oh, I know that pain. Yeah.
Actually, when I started practicing was a Death Angel song, and the song I have in mind is the Ultra Violence, which is about a 10-minute song.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's tough.
It is.
So what's your I'm sorry I cut you off, but what I'm teaching a 9-minute song by Snarky Puppy right now, and nobody can memorize it. I mean, granted, it's Snarky Puppy, it's insane drumming, right? But what's your process for memorizing a 10-minute song?
Sometimes what I would like to do is kind of listen to it. First off, just the whole way through, not me playing, just being like, okay, I'm listening mainly for the drummer. What's he doing here when this thing happens? Because this particular song, the Ultra Violence, it tends to switch up a little bit. So you got to know, like, okay, this is when he's doing like maybe a fill and is leaning into this part here. So now I know to do like double kicks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're good. It's really a lot of memorization. And then you just do it over and over again. It was actually something I brought up in my Q&A video, but that's really how I go about my process.
So when you're playing it over and over again, is it like play it from the beginning until you make a mistake and start over? Or is it like try to get through 4 minutes? 4 minutes. How do you do that?
Well, yesterday in particular, actually, I did the whole way through. I'm thinking like, okay, if there's any mistakes, we're just going to leave it in. We're just going to improvise. Because one particular spot definitely gets it. It's like a little build-up, for instance, and it feels pretty good. So I don't think the drummer is doing like anything out of the ordinary. Maybe he's doing maybe a quick little fill here and there, but I was doing like a sort of drum solo sort of fill.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, okay. And then I was like, pause. Oh, wait, did I screw up? Oh, no, get back into it. There we go. There's the beat. So
cool.
I mean, you just keep doing it and until you eventually get it right. But a lot of memorization and a lot of repetition, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have a good memory?
I do, yeah. In fact, that's something my mom actually praises me for, especially when it comes to remembering certain things.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I feel like the older I get, the less and less I can remember. Maybe I just know too many songs at this point, and they're all just mushed together. But
that's what I would say. Yeah, you kind of doing 200 gigs as well and trying to make sure you memorize those.
Right. Yeah, well, that band was an all-request band, so we never knew what we were going to play. You know, so I think that actually made it a little easier. So a lot of times I'd be playing songs I never heard before and just playing them live, you know.
The Darius Rucker Wagon Wheel.
Yeah, well, we did that a billion times, so I heard that.
Yeah.
But I mean, somebody being all request, somebody would be like Bruce Springsteen, like some B-side. You never, you know, unless you're a huge Bruce fan, you're not going to know. You know, and so then the singer brings up the chords and the lyrics, and we wing it. You know.
Hey, we're drummers, remember? We improvise.
Yeah, dude, totally. And drums, you can kind of, if you keep it simple, play the money beat, boom, gat, boom, gat, boom. Just do that until you're feeling good. Then you can start, you know.
Then you start experimenting, yeah.
Yeah. Something Bernard told me that I always held close was when you're playing in that type of scenario, and, you know, cover bands don't play in these big venues. It's like bars and clubs and
weddings,
things like that. Right, weddings. And, you know, if I'm at a point where I'm trying to figure out a good kick pattern, right, for the groove, and I'm going back and forth between things, he told me that you should look at the audience, and as soon as somebody starts dancing, stay there. Like, don't change anything. Because, like, the whole goal, I guess, as a cover band is to get people dancing and drinking, right? Spending money. You did this earlier, right? That's what it's all about. But, yeah, man, he told me, like, you see somebody tapping their foot or bobbing along, stay there. Stay with whatever that beat is, you know? 9 times out of 10 is, do, God, like Billie Jean or just everything, you know? But yeah, if you master that simple drum beat and then like 4 on the floor, dude, like kick on all 4 notes, you'll be able to get a gig. Easy. Yeah. People don't really want drummers going when they're trying to sing, you know? That's how you get fired from gigs.
Yeah, I can understand why. Actually, there was one metal drummer I was listening to, and this one particular song he just went absolutely crazy on. So, and it was a lot of fills. I don't know. Do you listen to a lot of death metal too, or do you kind of draw the line at sort of heavy metals?
Honestly, lately it's just been like the old school, like Metallica. Like, I guess that's really like hard rock these days. I always liked Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax, you know, the big 4, Slayer. And then, you know, I would get into like the screamy stuff, but more like the pitched screamy stuff where there's some singing. I'm not super into like the, ooh, like the long, like growls, you know what I mean? Can't even do it. But, where it's like super slow, like, God, you know, like that, like, you know what I'm talking about?
That'd
like
be more the deathcore ones. Yeah.
Deathcore, yeah. See, I don't even know what are the biggest genres of metal, like thrash.
That's one of it. Yeah, thrash dominated a good while, obviously in the late '80s, and some part of it's kind of not as popular as it used to be. Even though a lot of those, it's actually the big 8 because you also include what I call the other 4, which is Overkill, Exodus, Death Angel, and Testament.
They're actually older than those groups, right? Like at least Overkill, right?
I don't know about age, but I thought their music came like a little bit after, like the big 4, for instance. Because I don't think I don't know if they mentioned them in like '86 or something like that, but it's along those lines. But
who's your favorite band? Is that a tough question?
It's jumped around a little bit too, but like one group I always really like to listen to during like long car rides, for instance, whenever we're traveling. It's Between the Buried and Me, and that's
oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've heard them for sure.
But it's one of those bands. It's good to listen to, and it's like, I don't know if I could do this, but I actually did do basically. Just trying to remember. I kind of broke it up a little bit because it actually involved the 3 songs. It was Mordecai, Reaction, and Shavano Part 2, which was from their Silent Circus album.
Oh, cool.
I actually did cover Mordecai, and then I did a collaboration on Shavano Part 2.
Oh, cool.
Reaction really wasn't anything. It was just kind of a bridge between Mordecai and Shavano Part 2, so that's really all it was.
Yeah.
But nothing really special. But I had to say that one because I listened to those guys a good bit during car rides and stuff like that.
Do you listen to modern music at all?
On the radio, in terms of the metal music.
Anything.
In terms of metal music, it's the Liquid Metal station on Sirius XM.
That's a good station. Yeah. I'm always on Howard Stern or like Alt Nation or, you know, whatever. Billy Joel station is pretty cool sometimes.
Well, the problem was the 2 stations like I really was into was Aussie's Boneyard, which always plays every 70s,
I feel like
80s.
Every time I put that on, it's No More Tears. Every time I put that station on, that song's on.
There's that one where it's a different sort of Aussie song, and they'll always put like a big star next to it. So but it was the same with what's the station after it? I'll make sure I was saying it right. Turbo Nation, that's right. And it's
cool.
It actually covers 90s and 2000s. I think it varies in sort of the rock, but it's kind of like a Seaver. They'll do Fuel. They always play a lot of covers, but Actually, it's a lot of the same music too. It's a different version of like Aussie's Boneyard, but it's like 90s and 2000s hard rock.
Yeah, I love that stuff, man. Like I played with Fuel so many times. I was a big fan until I met. So they've had a lot of lineup changes. The first time I played with them, the singer got the rights back, and it was like him and nobody else. It was like him and like Hired Guns as Fuel. And I was a big fan, man. And Brett Scallions, the singer, I went up to him backstage, put my hand out like this. I'm like, hey, and we were playing for free as direct support. We're like, just to help them out because it was a small place in South Philly. I put my hand out and I go, hey, man, I'm a huge fan. I just want to say thanks for letting us open for you. He looked at my hand, said, yeah, all right, and walked away. I was like, are you serious right now? Yeah.
That must have sucked, yeah.
Yeah, just being a fan is whatever. I mean, you start realizing when you start opening for these big famous guys have a different opening band every night for like a year straight. They don't want to talk to you. They don't care. You know what I mean? It's like there's no way they're going to remember you either way. You know what I mean? So it affected me at that point. But now I realize like Imagine Dragons, nobody saw them. They weren't backstage. It's like Mike Shinoda, Judah and the Lion, us, AJR. We're all just in the back chilling, together, except for them. So it's like usually like a lot of times the headliners are just kind of like lock their door and like don't bother us type of deal, A
little isolated from the world, so to speak.
Yeah. It's a bummer sometimes, especially like when somebody you really like, I
would say, yeah, I don't want to say offended, but I feel like I would be a little upset too if that were to happen to me. So
yeah, man. Well, with the Brett Scallions thing, to be fair, the place we were playing was small. I don't think he knew. Like when he showed up, he was pissed. Like I don't think he knew it was like a small spot, like a 300 person room. Not that they could really sell much more than that, but I mean, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I think he was kind of pissed off. Like he was in the green room and he wouldn't even let the drummer and bass player in his band in the green room. Like, you know what I mean? Like what is that?
Do not disturb, that sort of thing. So
yeah, like I am the singer.
All shall kneel before me. That sort of thing,
exactly, dude. But it's not for every dude you meet that's a dick. You meet like Judah. Judah and the Lion.
Name sounds familiar, but I haven't listened to him a whole lot. But go ahead.
They're big in Pennsylvania. I mean, they've had hits, but they're not like, most people don't know their name. But if you heard, especially this one song, "Take It All Back," if you heard that, you'd be like, "Oh, I've heard that before." He was just the nicest dude, man. Like, I knew who he was because I was a fan, and I was like, "Whoa!" And he like ate lunch with my guitar player's wife. Like, he was just the nicest dude. Then you have the other dudes who just don't want you to even, like Imagine Dragons put rules out. Like they didn't want people to use the catwalk. Like no one can use the catwalk but us. No one can cross the monitor lines on stage. Like we had to be a lot quieter than them too by their rules.
It was like quiet place, yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, we had like 90 speakers. The place is humongous, So why?
But I don't like musicians like that too, especially when they take a shit. And I had to go through something unfortunate last year. Not gonna go into the full story, but I had lost somebody dear, and he actually came on my podcast briefly.
Yeah.
And it went fine. I made a mistake saying like I didn't know who you are, so, and it was meant to be more like I had not heard about you, but I'm happy you came on my show here, and I'm curious how many of my friends have heard about you. But it wasn't like, oh, I know 1,000 people who haven't heard about you. So,
right, yeah.
He came back and was a dick, and
like on the podcast, he was a dick.
No, actually, he was cool on podcasts. I mean, it was like a completely different person. This happened the day of the funeral after I lost somebody. When he had emailed me and he accused me of this and that, so I was kind of talking about it a little bit. So that it was kind of unfortunate too, but that. It looks like you kind of went through the whole thing with people being dickish in a way too, so
It's part of it. It's part of the industry, man. Sorry for your loss, dude. First of all, but yeah, it really is part of it. You just gotta. The industry is cutthroat at times. You'll meet the nicest people and the shadiest people. You know, you're gonna meet drug addicts, and you're gonna meet like the most friendly person you've ever met in the same room. You know, you're not. It's like, you know, you're also going all over the country when you're touring and meeting all sorts of people. You know, my advice to you is it's so hard, but just let it. Don't matter. You know, let it wash by you.
It was just really bad timing, to say the least.
Oh, I know. Yeah, so, I get it. Yeah.
So it at least helps. It helps with talking about it too. So thank you so much, bud.
Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah.
Let's get. Well, we got too far off topic here, but let's go ahead and. What sort of drumsticks do you play with, actually?
All right. I'm hesitant because something might be coming down the road. Right now I'm using these guys. I used Vic Firth my whole life, practically, with some Pro Mark and Vader in between. And honestly, Vic Firth was letting me down like crazy. I would be, you know, I spend at least $500-600 a year on drumsticks. So I order them as bricks, like 12 pairs at a time or 24 pairs at a time. And if you order a brick from Vic Firth, you're going to get 12 pairs. At least 2 of them are going to be trash, like break in the first 10 minutes of a set. You know what I mean? And there's another thing you don't really have to worry about with electric drums, but cymbals destroy sticks. And I hit rim shots on my snare like every 2 and 4. It's a rim shot. So, you know, it was really becoming a bummer that I was getting so many bad pairs from Vic Firth. So I switched to this company called Scorpion. Well, first I talked to them. They sent me a pair. I tried them out and just, I love them. They're kind of cool. Look, I'll show you the, I don't know if you can, is it like focused on that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh,
yeah, it's pretty cool.
badass.
And then they put my YouTube thing and my signature there.
Oh.
And anybody can do that. That's not, I don't endorse them. That's like, it's pretty cool. You pay like an extra $1 per pair or something, and they could do that for you. But they feel amazing, and they make longer sticks than most companies, and I like long drumsticks. But I had a meeting today. There might be something coming down the road endorsement-wise with Vader. So I would switch back to Vader if they want to do a deal, which I would, you know, buy your drumsticks now. I don't know if you've heard about the price increase. It's like a 50% price increase on sticks, like every brand.
I have not actually heard about that, but I got a good amount of Vic Firth to go through first, so I'm at least good until the inflation cools. Maybe so. Hopefully in the summer. That's fingers crossed. That's
yeah.
So
Yeah. One of the schools I teach in now, they sell instruments and gear and stuff too. The drumsticks went from $11 to $16. You know, everywhere. Check Sweetwater, Musician's Friend, Guitar Center.
Oh, geez.
Drumsticks are now $15-16. Marching drumsticks are over $20 now. That's insane. Like, think about that. They just added, like, drumsticks are $5 more, right? A pair now, right? If I spend $1,000 a year on drumsticks, now it's $1,500. That's a huge increase, you know. 50% is too much. Like, that it can't be supply chain problems, right? I mean, it's North American wood.
I don't know what you can blame it on, really, but I know they're going to blame it on politics somehow.
Breed.
That too. That too. We can certainly say one thing like that. All right.
Yeah.
So this is one I forgot to ask, but I guess who do you consider to be your influences?
Oh, cool. So I'll just go through like some of my favorite drummers because I think, because I could do like early influences, what I'm into now. It's all over the place. But John Bonham, as always, is like the king, greatest rock drummer ever. Better than Neil Peart. Uh-oh, did I lose you? Oh, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I think we froze a little bit, but okay.
Oh.
He said Neil Peart, but he said greatest drummer. Or actually, no, you said John Bonham is greatest drummer than Neil Peart.
That Neil Peart, whatever is 2, or 1A, whatever. But Bonzo's up there. And for me, from there's a guy named Gerald Hayward. Most people don't know his name, but he played for Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Rob Thomas, everybody, like big names. Right now, I think he's playing with Usher, because Usher's drummer Aaron Spears went to Ariana Grande, so I think they swapped. And he also plays with Chris Brown, but he's one of my favorite drummers. That guy, he's known for having a really fast foot, and I got to tech a clinic he taught, and kind of like, in a way, he can't teach, and he was telling me how he'll never be able to teach because he doesn't know, like, you could tell me a paradiddle. I don't know what it is. I could play it, but I don't know what it is, Like, if you say right, left, right, right, he can go, real fast, but he doesn't know everything behind it. So he was trying to teach me how to do the slide technique on the foot. So it was interesting, but he taught me how to do it. And that's one of my strengths now, is like single pedal speed. Like, I don't use double bass anymore. So Gerald Hayward, if you don't know who he is, check him out. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of, oh my gosh, what's his name? Snarky Puppy. He's on Drumeo all the time. Larnell Lewis. He's a monster. He was teaching at Berkeley School of Music, so he's a beast. Yeah, it's just Buddy Rich, obviously. But if I had to say, like, a drummer that's my style, like, that I think I'm close to, I would say Ronnie Vannucci of the Killers. You know that band? Well, everybody knows the Killers, but
I know the Killers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I didn't know the drummer's name, but I do know the Killers.
Yeah. So he's like, like a powerful rock drummer that plays a ton of fills. He's like a controlled Keith Moon. You know what I mean? In a cool way. And just like a lot of the fills I always naturally come up with, I end up hearing in some random Killer song. I'm like, oh, whoa, I do that all the time, which is pretty cool. So I would say he's a big influence. And other than that, it's just, I learned something from everybody. Like, I'm going to learn something from you during this podcast. Like, it's, I think if you can make yourself a permanent student of drums, then you're just going to grow. Like, if you watch every YouTube video you watch Drum Man 190, watch his next cover, find one thing in there that you're like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to try that, one thing. Then watching that 5-minute video was not a waste. It's a waste of time when you're just like, just mindlessly watching drum videos. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me,
absolutely, yeah. I think some of them use like that Moises sort of app.
Yeah. I use
that
that
kind of like lowers it, for the drums. It doesn't really remove it completely, but at least allows your drums to play over top of it, so it stands out a lot more.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, in terms of gear, and we actually talked for a good hour right now, so I'm hoping you learned a good bit from this whole thing here.
Yeah, man.
I guess walk us through the gear.
This is what happens when you podcast is just a conversation, man. It's good.
Well, that's what I said. I don't know really what sort of format you want. I mean, we're just here asking questions, and we start jumping to other topics
fun,
too.
Man.
But,
yeah,
absolutely. In terms of the gear, and I guess this also goes into the process of making a drum cover. So you pick the song. What do you do to prep for it, and then what gear do you use to record it, and then editing before you upload to YouTube?
Yep, I'll try to go quick. Picking a song, a lot of the times, because, we were both just talking about how busy we are. Right now I have I'm typically teaching between 45 and 50 drum lessons a week. So a lot of the times it'll just be whatever song I'm teaching one of my advanced students, like I just don't have time to go and learn. Or like my last 2 covers were songs I played on tour, that I had to get perfect. So I was like, well, I already know it. And it's just good because they tend to be a little more difficult. And then when I do have time to pick a song, I'll pick something that I really like. You know, right now I'm working on a Coheed and Cambria song because I got to play a show with their drummer, Josh Eppard, monster drummer. And I'm working on a song called Comatose. It's quite hard. And there's like a 20-second drum solo-y fill. It's long, like really long. So it's fun, you know? So I guess it's like a song that I like, a song that I think will be fun to learn. And I try to write out the music for whatever song I'm learning, just so I play it perfect when I'm doing it, you know, so I don't miss like a little hi-hat open or something I can read while I'm playing. A lot of times on my covers, I'll put it on the bottom, like the sheet music scrolling through, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, the tabs, yeah.
Yeah. So gear-wise, right now I'm using SM57s on the hi-hat, snare bottom, and I have one on the snare top, and I also have a Earthworks DM20 on the top. That's that gooseneck microphone you see in all the Drumeo videos. This microphone on the floor tom here is a Sennheiser 421. It's classic. I got a 57 on that rack tom, but I got another 421 coming in the mail. I got my AKG 414s on the overheads, and a Shure. What's that? 50? I can't remember.
57?
No, the kick mic with the blue. It's like the kick mic everybody has. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know either, but
not
go ahead.
The 7B. It's like a 58B, or I don't know. Yeah, so I record that into. I have the Focusrite Claret 8 Pre X, and coming out of that, I have the Focusrite Claret plus Octo Pre. So that way, you know, the regular Focusrite 8 Pre is, you can use 8 microphones. So I got to get an ADAT interface that connects to that, so you can expand it to 16, which I don't really use for YouTube. Like when I'm doing a session for a producer or something, then, you know, I have a buddy with some like $10,000 microphones. We'll hook it all up. And, then I'm using all 16. You know, you got room mics, put one at the top of the stairs, whatever. Going into the Focusrite, I use Pro Tools to edit the audio, mixing and stuff. It's pretty complicated. If you're just starting out, I would probably recommend Logic. A little more user-friendly, especially if you're a Mac person. But they're the same. They both do the same exact thing. And then video editing, I use Final Cut Pro. Just because, I don't know, I didn't know what I was picking at the time. And I just bought, it was like $300 or something. I just paid for it, so I've been using that. But it's cool. I've been able to learn some cool. I've made a couple like music videos where I've done like animating things, which is, you know, time consuming, but pretty cool, you know. Yeah, from there it's just lining everything up, make sure it sounds good. What are you using for video editing?
Actually, it's funny when you mentioned Logic, because that's what I use to record my MIDI and everything, but I still use my audio interface and everything. But in terms of the videos, it's just Final Cut Pro, because I'm a big Mac user too.
Yeah.
It gets the job done,
Mac
because
user, yeah, for sure.
Really, a lot of times, if it's my Q&A videos or these podcast interviews, you just simply drag it in, you just line everything up, and then you try to see where the mistakes are. Sometimes the audio gets a little jumbled up, so I'm hoping this one's all good. So since we've been talking for a good bit, I'm hoping it doesn't get too funny, because I think as we keep going on, I think it starts acting funny, but we'll have to see what happens.
The audio and the video don't match?
For some reason, it's more like jumping, if you know what I mean. Like, it would be like a normal talk, and then all of a sudden the audio jumps to like maybe a different part. I don't know if it happens with Zoom or anything like that, but yeah.
Yeah, weird. Yeah.
But actually, one of the things I start doing is I do split tracks instead, and that seems to really help too. So,
okay.
I'd say, that's a big benefit.
You can edit them individually that way, right?
Yeah. And then also what I do is, if it's people who are doing like long talks and everything too, it'll just be like that whole little video clip. where it's just them talking, so they just see them because I obviously you hear me, I'm coughing over here too, so that's why I want to hide it. Don't want people seeing me cough too.
Yeah, I keep seeing you hitting the mute button from time to time.
Well, that and my furnace accidentally kicked on too, so that was.
I can't hear anything, man. You're doing great.
That's good. Actually, you might hear it a little bit, but I think my voice will be all powerful. It would drive me. So.
Yeah, I know. Real quick. What kit are you using? Is that a Roland?
It is a Roland, yeah. It's a Roland TD25K, and
damn, that's expensive.
It was. I think it was only like $2,500, but me and my dad we split it, and unfortunately, if you noticed on my couple of videos, the snare's starting to get a little wear and tear, and that's from blast beat and stuff like that. And whenever
well, you can replace just that mesh part, right?
Oh yeah, I can. I'm being lazy right now.
Right,
so.
I got you. Yeah.
And just also making sure if I had time.
I had a Roland TD3. I was young.
Oh, so yeah, I played on electric sets too.
Oh yeah,
so.
I teach on I play electric kit every day.
I see. But obviously you would prefer the acoustic set.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just because when you play electric kit for a long time and then you go over to an acoustic kit, you're in rough shape. You know, like your hands are going to hurt, your rim shot zones are all over the place. You know, it's just different, you know. And
culture shock. Yeah.
Yeah. And it takes, I think on the acoustic kit, it just takes a little more skill. Not a lot more skill, a little more skill. Because you have to worry a little bit more about your dynamics, you know. But, you know, I also use the Roland SPDSX on my kit. If you see any live videos of me playing, you see I'm running tracks and samples off my SPDSX. I do like a hybrid kit live, you know what I mean? Which is
yeah, I see what you mean there. Yeah,
that's what everybody's kind of doing out there these days. You know,
I see. Yeah, I guess that would be something like Dead Mouse or some of those other artists are doing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. Well, even anybody, like I bet you, even these metal bands are using click tracks and backing tracks and everything. You know.
That's why they sound so good live from that thing.
Dude, I'm telling you, everybody does it. People like to say, like, you see like the Lars hate. You know, a lot of it's like, I stopped liking Lars when he admitted he was copy and pasting drum parts. That's how everybody does it, and they've been doing it since the 90s. Literally,
yeah, I can imagine.
Everybody. Most bands nowadays, Coheed and Cambria, I know this for a fact, they wrote the part on the computer, did it all MIDI, then the drummer went and played it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Don't fight technology, guys. Lean into it, you know?
I'd say just don't get absorbed into it too much.
Well, yeah.
Embrace it a little bit, but at least
you gotta
don't let it consume your life.
It's part of being a drummer. Electric drums is part of being a drummer. So,
all right,
gotta know it.
Yeah, but since we have been talking for a good bit, looks like we're gonna have to skip over the fun questions. But we are down to the last couple bit here, so let's see which one.
We might need to do a part 2, I think.
That's what I probably. Maybe at some point, maybe that one will just be strictly the fun questions. But
I'll have you on my channel.
Yeah, we could probably go then.
I'm about to start up a podcast, by the way. I'm like on the verge of getting it started now, so I'll have you on.
I think you have to find time too, considering how hectic your schedule is, though.
Oh, I know.
But since you already talked about
these are easy though. It's like you talk and an hour edit done. You know.
Yeah, absolutely too. That you just have to download it, and then it's just pop it into your editor. Just go here and there.
Yeah.
Bump it up. Add some presets.
Yep.
There you go.
Hey, man.
Okay. So sorry, I was just going to say, since you did answer about the electric drum set, let's jump into your YouTube channel. I guess, when did you start it, and what do you hope to achieve with it?
Why did I start it? That's a good question. I don't really know.
I was going to say, when did you start it? But why?
I think I've been going for 2 years.
Okay.
I think. Maybe like 2 years and a couple months. I'm not sure. I'm at 1.85K. Not where I wanted to be. My goal for 2022 was 2,000. So my goal for 2023, I'm going to put it at 3,000, but I'd like to make it 4. My channel is mostly covers, lessons, and actually it's called Drum LCK. The LCK is lessons, covers, and karma, because I just believe in treating each other well.
Karma.
Yeah.
That's okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I think this year's goal is to not do covers unless it's me pushing myself, like playing something really hard. Because I think, there have been times where I think to myself, like, I don't have time. I'm just going to play something easy. You know what I mean? And that's not great. People watch them and I'm sure people like it, but it's not something I'm particularly proud of. You know what I mean? If I go and play like Walk This Way or Enter Sandman or something, you know what I mean? Like I'd like this year to be more about not showing off, because that's ridiculous, just pushing myself, seeing what I can get out of myself this year. I want to get a podcast going, because I know a lot of famous people and they'll all come on for sure. And I think that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to also get like famous like singers and guitar players on and talk about what they expect out of drummers. I think that'd be pretty cool, because with my channel, I really want to start leaning into education. And I think I have probably like 60% covers, 40% lessons, and I want to maybe even that out this year too. Yeah, man, that's where I'm headed, I think.
I want to say mine's kind of like a 30, 30, and 30.
Yeah.
Or maybe 33 and a third, so that way it's all split evenly. But,
yeah, see, that's a better way to do it.
It would be, but I know podcasts are definitely one.
Yeah.
I was trying to do like a just chatting series where I just really bring people on. We just talk about random shit and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Which I know I'm doing with Eric, the drum addict, this weekend.
Cool.
So I'm curious how this is going to go. I'm just going to go ahead and wing it. I'm not even bringing any questions. We're just going to talk about some random stuff and that.
Dude, that's the best. Maybe have a couple things written down just in case it stalls, but that's how the best. Like our Benny Greb conversation was like, I asked one question and we went on for a long time, just honestly, just me and Benny talking, about practicing, you know what I mean? And he's one of my favorites. So that was a dream come true for me. So I had a lot to ask him. Yeah, man.
I was just trying to think of, I guess, what are you going to name your podcast? I guess you're just going to keep it strictly to YouTube?
Probably not. I'll probably put it on Spotify too. I think I think Matthew and I went wrong by only doing it on YouTube, because some of those are really good. You know what I mean? Some of them aren't, but some of them, like I didn't think our Dave Garibaldi interview went very well. He was kind of a little rough around the edges, and some of these guys, you'll realize they don't open up until you start like stroking their ego. You know what I mean? Like he didn't really open up until I started telling him how good he was.
Yeah, you're just poking him on the shoulder so many times.
Yeah, man. And then he opened up. He was in the Air Force. I was in the Air Force. I tried to connect with him right away off that. And he was just like, yeah, all right.
You killed me, man. I'm trying to start something here, man.
I don't think he knew what we were doing. It was like COVID, he was just in his house, like
locked away.
Yeah. But naming the podcast, I don't really know.
Maybe something like Enthroned or something like that.
It's not a bad idea. I don't know. I have a weird mind, so I might try to do something funny or like.
Well, it's funny when you mentioned about other musicians too. That's kind of like what I was doing with trying to get like vocalists.
Yeah.
And some of them have been like multi-musicians. I have gotten like guitar players. I'm trying to get a bass player. In fact, one of the guys I interviewed, he actually knew a guy from the metal band Skinless. And
oh, cool.
I tried so many times and I gave up at this point. So I'm assuming he's just thinking, oh, it's a fan. It's probably nobody either. So
yeah,
it bites, because I was actually really hoping to connect there and just kind of get into some of the more in the depth.
I'll bass player wise, I wonder. I'll reach out to people for you. Let me ask around for bass. See, bass player. I'll ask him around.
I think I might know a couple, but thank you though. I'll keep my ears open for that. All right,
for
so
sure.
we're down to the last two questions here. But the first one, you did mention about COVID too. So I guess how bad did it impact you?
When we were like locked down at home and stuff, I wrote a book and it got published worldwide, and like a drum set instructional book. So it was good for me. I get paid like every month on that for 2 years now. Yeah, it's called Paradiddle Boot Camp. If any of you want to get it, it's on Amazon. Just like 100-page, just like any drum set book, but it's all about using paradiddles as grooves, not fills, because everybody knows how to do that, Why
would I want a paradiddle? Isn't that cheating?
What's that?
I don't know. I think it was one drummers I was seeing, and it was on a different a podcast show. You're saying, why would I want to do paradiddles? Isn't that cheating? Or at least that's what the critics would say.
Stupid.
Right. But keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was, I think a lot of people, spouses either killed each other or came closer together during that. And my wife and I came closer together, which was really nice. It did kind of kill my band, The Great Enough. We were kicking ass right before that. And we honestly just haven't gotten it back since. We straight up lost all of, our Spotify numbers went and it just kind of really hurt us. Yeah, man, it was tough for, musicians. If I wasn't teaching, if I wasn't able to teach on Zoom or Skype, I would have been screwed paying the mortgage. You know what I mean? So thankfully I was all right. I know a lot of musicians that weren't though,
Yeah, I know what you mean too, but it looks like you had some blessings in disguise too, and there's normally one I like to avoid, given the obvious with COVID and everything. But it seems like everybody I've at least interviewed had some sort of blessing out of it too. So yours was definitely writing a book and get some royalties.
Man. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's not a lot because people just don't buy books like they used to.
It's all electronic now.
Right, and I didn't want to charge a lot for it. It's just easy. The publisher handles everything. It's weird because they're in England, so I get paid in Great Britain pounds.
Their pound, yeah.
And then I have to pay to get it transferred to U.S.
And then, that's the whole repatriation. I think that's what they call it, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's good to see you made it through. And I guess, did you just get hit with COVID? This is the first time, too?
Yeah, it was my first one, like 2 weeks ago.
I was the same way, but I just tested positive, but I don't know if I was actually afflicted with it, but I know I was tired. So maybe I just had a brief stint with it.
I was very... I wasn't coughing or anything, thankfully, but I was like... I just looked back here because I was quarantined back here.
Yeah.
Down in the basement. I had like an air mattress there. I know it's not there, but I just looked for it. But yeah, it sucked. I was it was like 2 days of
being
aches.
stuck in a prison.
Yeah, well, I was stuck down here for longer than that because my wife never got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was testing positive for like 10 days. 9-10 days. But I was only really sick for like 2 or 3,
I see. It's good to see you made it through. I'm feeling a lot better now.
Man. Yeah, you?
I'm still stuck with a cough. That's probably why I keep muting it too, and that's why.
Yeah. Did you have it over the holidays too?
It lingered. Like, I'm feeling a lot better right now. I just can't shake this cough, and I think it's because you walk outside briefly, because I got to walk a couple blocks to get to my main place of work downtown Pittsburgh. So
nice.
Unfortunate, but I think that's what causes it to come back a little bit. But just stick to the meds. Just keep doing that.
Yeah, I used to go down there a lot. I used to date a girl at the University of Pittsburgh when I was in the military, so I'd spend my weekends down there.
Geez. That must have been something. All right.
It's something.
Now, before we jump into the last question, I guess, do you know about I'm trying to remember who else was in Philly. I know one was Chris, and he's a throwback drummer.
I don't know him. I'll check him out. Let me write that down.
He's a Philly guy too, but he really loves Linkin Park, so it's funny when you mention about
sick.
it. He hasn't really
drummer?
Throwback drummer, yeah. He actually has not covered a whole lot from Linkin Park, but he says he absolutely loves the old school Linkin Park. So
I was teaching crawling today about 3 hours ago to some kid. The young kids are still getting into Linkin Park.
I mean, that's a killer album. I just say that whole album is a montage of whatever you want.
I saw them open for Metallica back before that. I mean, they were. That show was Mudvayne first.
Oh God.
Deftones, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit. So at this point, Limp Bizkit was more famous than Linkin Park, and then Metallica headlining.
It was like, fuck Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, and like I hated Limp Bizkit. Like I hated them, and then I went and I had to see them. They were in their show I went to, and I actually was impressed when I saw them. I was like, okay.
Okay, Fred Durst doesn't really suck too bad, so he's at least They at least
and
have
Linkin
played
Park.
live.
Linkin Park. Like at that point in their career, they were young, so like Chester didn't sound that great, to be honest. But Mike Shinoda was killing it. You know,
I think,
we were like, "Who's this band?" Like nobody knew who they were.
I was gonna say I think Chester was more into the screaming at the time.
Right at that point, it was like I think only one step. Is it One Step Closer? Is that what it's called?
That was one of them. Yeah, that was the song.
I'm about to break. I think that was the only song that was out. I think that was the first single.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Chester Bennington.
Yeah, for sure. And Mudvayne, it was right when Dig came out.
Oh my God, yeah. I know. They actually got together for a reunion too. It looks like they kind of went back with the whole makeup.
I love Mudvayne. I love that album with Happy on it.
That was I'm sure I say it right. Lost and Found. Yeah, that's right. Lost and Found.
Yeah, it's a good record, man.
Was this when you saw them? Was that when they had like the bullet holes in their head?
Yeah, the face paint.
Paint, and they did the bullet hole.
Yeah, yeah. The bass player had like devil horns in his hair.
Dude, he was a monster on the bass. I mean,
that drummer is insane. They're all really good. Yeah.
Matt McDonough, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is Mudvayne's drummer.
Oh, cool. He has a nickname, right, that he goes by? Like Spag or Spaz or Bug. I don't know.
Well, it was on with them, but just to kind of get into Mudvayne before we jump into the last question, that only lasted for a little bit. I would say that was around 2001 when they did the face makeup.
Right, yeah.
Then like 2 years later, they ditched that whole thing and they just went straight look too. It was just maybe mohawks, maybe a little long hair, maybe
edgy haircuts. That's it. Yeah,
something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But then they rolled with that until like recently when they started the reunion tour. So
cool. So I got lucky. I got to see them in their crazy phase.
Oh gosh, and Nothing to Gain too. That was another song that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Though I will say, I think Chad really did himself a disservice by going a little overboard in terms of the screaming back then too. So
yeah, I liked it though. They're crazy, dude.
In a good way. In a good way.
Yeah.
Shout out to love you guys. All right.
Yeah.
Before we jump to the last question, was there any other words or any questions you want to say before we jump to it?
Really just thanks, man. This is, it looks like we've been going for over an hour and a half. And it's so easy talking to you. This is our first time face to face. I could go for another hour and a half. And anyone that's actually watching this long, like, wow, thanks. You're awesome.
I would have talked. I would have actually gone a lot longer too, but I gotta get up for work tomorrow. So
yeah, me too, man. My daughter's gonna wake up at 4:30, so
it's past my bedtime. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So for the last question right here, and this is one I always like to ask. So, what sort of message of hope could you give to musicians and people out there as we try to claw out of COVID, so to speak?
Well, everything's getting better, right? The bars are open. I was able to go on tour, in terms of the working drummers out there, just keep going. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't wait for somebody to call you post-COVID because you got to go get it because there aren't most things are open now, but everything isn't back to normal. And if there are only so many gigs, the only people that are going to get them are the people that go get them, right? Don't sit in your basement waiting for somebody to call you because it's not going to happen. So, a little bit of self-motivation, get into it. The gigs are there. You just got to go get it. And, I don't know if that was positive. But just keep at it. Don't quit. And always remember, this is the main thing Bernard Purdy taught me. Always remember why you started playing drums, and that's to have fun. Nothing else. Not to get famous on YouTube, not to be a rock star. The first time you hit a drum was because you thought it would be fun, right? So stay with that, because that will get you somewhere. You know what I mean?
I'd say the rest is icing on the cake.
Yeah, man, it really is. Like, if I don't play another show from now on, I would be heartbroken, but I'd still have those drums right there, I'd still be able to play to myself. Like, I wouldn't quit if all the opportunities left,
Absolutely.
And I don't think you would, or anybody else, YouTube's just a bonus. We get to just throw stuff on the internet. People watch it. What is that? Like, that's great.
Absolutely. And spoken like a true prodigy.
Yeah.
You and your teacher spoken like true prodigies.
Yeah.
All right. So, John, you reached the end of my podcast right here. Talked for probably close to 2 hours, but we had to cut out the first 6 minutes as we were trying to get everything situated there. But I guess, do you have any shout outs or any final words you want to say before we close?
Yeah. Check out my channel, Drum LCK. Bands, The Great Enough, The Color Fred. Just a couple others, but check out my book, Paradiddle Boot Camp. Come say hi on the channel. I respond to every single question. You do too, right? On your channel.
Try to, at least.
Comment on this video down below and I'll respond to you there. Yeah, don't worry about commenting on my chat. Comment here and I'll respond to every single comment. Let's just talk. Let's have fun.
I at least try to respond, but sometimes they comment while I'm at work too, so I have to wait till we get home and then respond. So
yeah.
All right. So,
yeah, I'll probably get back to you late at night, to be honest.
Catch you later there, honey. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right. So, everyone, like I said, it was John Hoff. He's a great drummer right here, great teacher. He's doing it all right now. He's living a dream. So, go subscribe to his channel. Hit him up on the socials. I guess, can he hit you on Facebook, Instagram, and all those other ones?
All of it, yep. John Hoff. Like Hasselhoff.
Or Hoffman, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Those guys. Okay. So, John, thank you so much for coming on. Stay safe. Stay tuned.
Thanks, man.